You never got the apology you needed. And maybe you never will. Not even a half-hearted apology. Not even a look of regret. Just silence. And worse, denial. And somehow, you're still supposed to move on. But how do you move on from something that was never acknowledged? How do you let go of pain that was never admitted? How do you forgive when the person who hurt you never even said the words? You're not crazy for still feeling it. You're not weak for still carrying it. You were wounded and no one showed up with a bandage. Maybe it was your father, the man who should have taught you love, but instead taught you distance. The one who should have been your first safe place, instead became your first reason to flinch. Maybe he left without warning, or maybe he stayed, but was never really there. You grew up in the same house, but you felt alone. Or maybe you never even met him. He was just a name, or not even that. And every birthday, every school event, every hard moment, he was missing. And you kept asking, why wasn't I worth staying for? What was so wrong with me that he could walk away without looking back? People don't talk about this type of pain, especially in our communities. Caribbean, African immigrant homes, we're taught to stay quiet. As a matter of fact, nobody wants to. No matter the ethnicity. You don't talk bad about your father. You're grown now. Just get over it. But it followed you into your relationship, into how you trust people, into how you see yourself. You flinch at raised voices. You over-explain even when you're not wrong. You feel like you're always chasing approval because the first man who should have given you love didn't. You became a people pleaser, not because you're weak, but because you're trained to earn love. You didn't learn affection. You learned survival. You played the apology in your mind. What he might say if he ever showed up. How it would feel to hear, I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I wasn't there. But you never hear it. And still, you carry his absence like a shadow. Every time someone leaves, every time someone raises their voice, every time you feel invisible in a room of people, that little voice says, see, you're still not enough. But that voice is lying. You were always enough. You were always worthy. You were just raised in a storm and was told not to cry about the rain. But here's what most people won't say out loud. You think that holding on to the pain will protect you. That if you let it go, you'll forget. That if you forgive him, it will make it look like he won. But the truth is, you're not protecting yourself. You're punishing yourself. Because every time you replay that moment, every time you replay that memory and feel that tightness in your chest, when someone says Dad, you're keeping yourself locked in a story you didn't write, but one you keep living in, and you don't deserve to keep living it. And here's something else no one tells you. You can forgive and still feel pain. You can forgive and still have questions. You can forgive and still have boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means you're done letting it define every single room you walk into. Because if you're being real, this isn't really about your father anymore. It's about you, the person you're becoming, the relationship you're trying to build, the way you shut down every time someone gets close because you're still scared they'll abandon you. You're chasing love, but you're also bracing for rejection. You crave connection, but you expect disappointment. And all of it traces back to a wound you didn't ask for, but now you're bleeding from it. And I need you to hear this. You're not the reason he left. You're not the reason he stayed silent. You're not too much. You're not too little. You were a child. And it was never your job to earn love. It was his job to give it. Now here's the real challenge. Are you willing to stop repeating the pain he caused? Because whether you like it or not, what you don't heal, you pass on. You pass it on in how you love, in how you parent, in how you speak to yourself when no one's around. You pass it on in silence, in distance, in defensiveness. But forgiveness, that's the break in the chain. That's the moment when the pattern dies with you. You don't have to become what hurts you. You don't have to carry his wound like it belongs to you. You are not him, and your story can end differently. And maybe the hardest truth of all, God is not asking you to forgive because it's easy. He's asking you to forgive because he wants you whole. Unforgiveness is the slowest form of poison. It corrodes your joy, hardens your heart. It keeps you reliving moments that God already tried to pull out of you. And maybe you don't have the strength to let it go right now, but God does. And if you let him, he'll carry the pain you've been dragging for years. Because God doesn't just restore relationship, he restores you. And here's something else you need to know. When it feels like your pain is the worst in the world, when it feels like no one could possibly understand, just remember this. Everyone is carrying something. There's a person out there who never ever knew their father's name. There's another person out there who watched their father leave and never come back while pretending like it never happened. There's someone right now still healing from a father who was present but was cruel. You're not alone in your hurt, but you also don't have to stay in there. And sometimes the only way to start healing is to stop looking at what you lost and start being grateful for making it through. Gratitude isn't forgetting what happened. It's remembering that you're still here after everything. So when you ask, but do I forgive him? You don't do it in one day. You don't do it in one prayer. You don't do it because someone else told you to. You do it because you're tired of the weight. You do it because carrying it costs you too much. You do it because you're finally ready to be loved without the fear of being abandoned. Forgiveness sounds like, I release you. You hurt me, but I won't keep hurting myself because of it. I didn't deserve what happened, but I do deserve peace. That's what choosing yourself looks like. And if this hit you and you felt seen in any of these words, I want you to comment below. I forgive. For me. Say it out loud. Type it in. Let it be your release. Because once you say it, even just once, it loses a little more of its power over you. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not weak for wanting peace. You're wise for choosing it. And your healing starts right now. Not when they apologize. Not when they explain. Not when it makes sense. It starts when you choose to stop living in what they did and start living in what God is doing next. So take a breath. Let it go. And remember, it's not just a destination. It's the journey. God bless.